Hey there! So today we have another review. This is a local one. This is Cigar City Highlight. It's been quite a while since we reviewed this one before. Since I reviewed this one again, this is a six hops and swans. Basically, it's almost a double IPA. I forgot about that. 7.5. It's right on that board. You can call it a double IPA 7.5. You can call it an IPA 7.5. Whatever you like. 65 IBUs, classic IPA. I remember when this was um, in bottles, traded for something that something that's like proud to be local, like a regional locality. Locality? Anyway, my English sucks. You got Zombie Dust, you got Pliny the Elder, you go to, Two Hearted. And I remember the first time we got Two Hearted in New York. It was absolutely crazy. Like, Bells actually came to New York. We had Flower Power in New York, and then you had like Trogs Nugget Nectar in Pennsylvania. And then like the Hasty thing was happening like a little after that. It's 60 minutes. And there's this important hoppy beers that really define America. The craft beer movement specifically about American craft beer. And Jai Alai, Florida, literally like an hour and a half away from me. This thing is dumb fresh. It is pretty much a month fresh. Yeah, from review about 5 weeks. Let's go about 5 weeks. So Jai Alai, Jai Alai, Jai Alai. The beer is classic, right? The beer really has a nice color to it. There's real color to it. It has a medium deep gold color, leaning yeah, somewhere around there. Um, Leaning sort of deep gold, a little bit of haze on there. So I guess I don't know if they have filtration or whatever, but they're pretty large facility out. They're now part of the conglomerate that was Oscar Blues, and they got bought out by Monster Energy drinks, which is absolutely crazy. I think that Monster Energy drinks is part of the craft beer movement now. But I think they're then owned by Pepsi. So I guess this is a Pepsi product. Yeah, it smells quite nice. Caramel sweetness, big orangey notes, juicy oranges, tangerine, ripe, sweet. Plays with that kind of like crystal malt character, a little bit of breadiness in there. Toast. That kind of just classic American IPA quality with the crystal malt that just has that color and flavor to it. But not overly sweet. It doesn't really sing of like the kind of really sweet thing I get from like something like um, Torpedo or something like Sierra Nevada Pale Ale, where it's a little bit more. This is a little bit pulled back, maybe not as sweet as like older recipes of. Then again, they probably have updated the recipe here and updated the recipe on 60-minute IPA because that beer I feel was more malt forward, but maybe not anymore. Oh yeah, man, that is a time machine and also just insane. I mean, when people, one question people ask, "You're from New York. What do you think about Florida?" One of the top questions sorry. One of the top answers I should have is High Alive. This beer's dumb good. Like to have a local beer that is, I mean, Tampa again for me, it's like an hour and a half, less than 2 hours away. To have a beer mass produced as a scale to be still so good is unbelievable. Then again, we do get some dumb beers here. Like I've reviewed all the macro ones for you guys. I've done, um, well, now macro. So like Stone IPA crushes, Elysian Space Dust crushes, the New Belgian hoppy beers, the hazy and the not hoppy beers crush, Imperial Voodoo Ranger crushes, Pernicious Wicked Mead, absolutely amazing. But this one's Florida, and man, it is so good. The first thing I noticed, this beer is really refreshing. It has a big kind of hop presence where it's like saturated hop character. There is a big kind of like juicy tangerine note, but then it has a really echoing kind of like hop flavor. It sings a little bit soapy, but not in a bad way. It's that combination of floral, fluffy malt. Um, there is a nice kind of medium to medium plus bitterness. Like it's really relatively restrained. I find some of the West Coast beers to be like noticeably snappy or bitter. This one has a nice balance. It does remind me sort of East Coast, and when I think East Coast, I'm not thinking about New England. I'm thinking about like 60-minute. I'm thinking about I think Flower Power. I'm thinking about Smutty Nose IPA. 6 point resin, maybe not. Bengali Tiger was a little bit leaner back in the day. 6 point resin with a big malt. Trogs Nugget Nectar, right? That was pretty much an IPA, but just like big um, malt character to it. Um, yeah, um, this beer just plays at a really fun place. It's juicy, rich citrus. What do they call it? Yeah, caramel malt, clementine, orange peel. That's what this beer does. It is caramel malt, not as pushed as West Coast, not as pushed as like, well, not specifically West Coast. Now they push it all the way back. Not as pushed as here in Nevada. So not as what I call juicy malt. Not as pushed as that much, but it does have a juicy malt character, like rich, bready, sweet, caramel, um, crystal malt character, and then big tangerine notes, and then like leaning maybe towards mango, but not quite there, but really tangerine. Mm, yeah, and it's just hoppy. It's nice. It's not. It doesn't hide its hoppy with the chalkiness and green polyphenol character. It's just got this ripping, oily character. One of the beers this immediately reminds me of are obviously the Roaring Table beers, but then just heady topper, Folka Banger, like these beers with saturation, and it's crazy that they're producing this beer. I don't know what volume they're producing at, but it has to be huge. Like fermenters must be ginormous. Cigar City is like barrel aged for the years. Got to be in the yeah, definitely in the five figures for sure. So, mm, Nigel, can you get off my shop, please? Thank you. A little bit of floral in there, but it's just a fresh, um, delectable beer. This beer drinks lean. It drinks probably around, I'd argue 6.5, 6.8 instead of 7.5. And I mean, you could have told me this is a double IPA. I'd be like, oh no, big trouble. Like it really 7. I'm gonna go 7, like at highest. 7.5. I'm like, ooh, you're gonna get in trouble. Lean, drinkable, crushable, rain, just hoppy notes, hoppy, hoppy in the sense of like some of the citrus and the oils and the grapefruit and the clementines and the oranges, but it's got a nice kind of like green, echoing, piney resin character, but it's not all the way like Sierra Nevada. It's not all the way foresty or soily like Portland does and West Coast does. So a lot of words here, but just shows the complexity of the beer and the drinkability of the beer and the wonderful execution of this beer. So crazy, so fresh, so delicious. One of the best. How do you like Florida? I like. Cheers. So freaking good. 97. Cigar City Alai. 97. The classic, the OG. Find the gas station, Cigar City. Now it's a Pepsi product. Who cares? 97 later.